Hello everyone and welcome back to Tiresome. I know, it's another horrible, depressing video where Mike gets rid of one of his cars that he said he was going to keep forever and fix up and all that shit. Let's talk about that, shall we? Okay, so what's happened here then? Why has Mike changed his mind about this, or has he changed his mind, or has the car changed its mind? Basically, the upshot is that the car is showing head gasket symptoms, okay? These are that the car gets up to temperature absolutely fine, and then dependent on engine load, will overheat, but quicker than it could actually reasonably pick up temperature. It's probably more like compression getting into the cooling system or something. But quickly go through the backstory on this. When I bought the car, it just had a new expansion tank replaced, okay? Now, that was fine, and I thought, 20-year-old car, expansion tank, whatever, didn't think too much of it. I probably should have taken that as a bit of a red flag, that the car had at least been overheated before, if not, has more failures within. I've always mentioned, even in the videos on the channel, about this car having a mysterious leak, a coolant leak from somewhere. Couldn't find out where it was, but it was only a little bit, and it actually went away for about 6 months entirely, and then came back again. Then I was driving it, doing, an hour journey, and the water pump has, not the water pump, the thermostat housing is like 4 or 5 outlets on it, which is an insane amount. It's aluminium with the switch and thermostat built in, and those outlets are actually plastic. Lovely. So one of them had snapped off. I replaced the thermostat housing, put it back together. I actually did record all this, but to be honest, I was so kicked in the face by this whole experience that I couldn't be bothered to edit it. The recording was a bit shite, and I never actually properly finished it off. But replaced it, 2 hoses, because where all the thermostat is, I'll show you, I'll bloody show you. The thermostat housing is right here, just down in there, and you can see it's all sparkly and new and looking lovely. But it's right beneath the oil filler. And basically, after years of people just pouring oil in, missing a bit here and there, it's actually caused the hoses to be impregnated with oil, meaning that when I disturbed them by indeed fitting the new housing, one of them was leaking, I replaced it, then I found out another one was leaking, so I replaced that, and now I've got this issue, where it's eating coolant, it's going somewhere. I thought, before I realised it was probably eating coolant, I thought maybe it was a bleeding issue, because I've never had an engine quite as complex as this, where you've got a bleeding screw at the front of the engine, there's one on top of the rad, there's one above on the heater matrix, and I thought, oh, okay, I've just not done this properly, because I'm used to the scimitar, where you just fill it with coolant, let it go round, wait for the train to go past, and then it's fine. So, I had a welder that I was selling, and someone wanted to buy it. And I noticed that this person selling it was actually, their account was called something mechanical auto shop or something. So I said, hey, you know what? He wanted me to deliver it. And I said, look, I'll deliver it for free. But can you bleed my cooling system properly, please? Indeed, he did. And for a few days, it actually ran all right. In fact, he was such a nice guy. I said, look, you can have the welder. Can you fit my tie rods as well, please? Because the tie rods have this weird thing where it sits in like a shim. The ball joint bit that goes into the hub, the carrier, actually sits in a shim that fuses itself to the tie rod. It's a pain to get off. I did try with fire and all sorts, but he did it fine, and he got a free welder, and I got a bled Alfa Romeo with new tie rods. Unfortunately, a few days later, I was elated by this point, by the way. I was so happy to have my Alfa back and it be normal. But then a few days later, it started doing the thing where it was overheating, gets up to temperature, holds it for about 10 minutes, and then when you throttle on, it'll go up. The heat will go up. You let off the throttle and it'll come back down again. And if you sit here in neutral and rev the tits off of it, it won't go up at all. But as soon as you're in gear with load on the engine, that's when it goes up. Anyway, because I made that discovery, me and my dad were actually going to tear this down, thinking it was probably something hose or thermostat related still, or at least hoping that. And that is when I discovered this issue, specifically that nature of it, and I said, look, let's just take this to a professional. They'd done all the leak down test or whatever and figured out that actually there is an issue with the head gasket. And I don't know if you remember, but I think in one of the previous videos I also mentioned that the car, as soon as that thermostat housing went, also became an absolute pain to start. A really big pain. So that can probably be also down to the fact that it's losing compression out of a head gasket. Now, That's fine, but why does that equate to me getting rid of the car? I love the car so much. Well, I've got no records of this clutch ever being done. It will need to be done in the near future. The turbo is whistling like a bastard. Also, if you look under the car, you can see it's plastered in oil. So even though the car doesn't noticeably use any oil, it's quite good in that respect, that turbo is going to need replaced pretty soon as well. And that, mixed with the fact that to get the head gasket done is £1,700 minimum, I phoned over 5 garages, including an Italian specialist. None of them wanted to touch it. I assume it's because garages just want to have vehicles just in and out for servicing and quick bits, rather than one that's going to sit on someone's workbench for a week or whatever it might be. But the point is, even if it was 1,700 quid and someone did go through it, and I was willing to do that, these engines suffer quite badly with the cracked heads. And that means that even after all that, I've teared the car down, and now I need to get a head for it. Am I going to be able to find a head? I did have a look to see if there were any available. I have seen them on for sale before for, between £200 and £500, which is still feasible. But there's none available, and I just had to cut my losses and just say, look, I can't do this. If I was going to spend almost £2,000 fixing a car that might need a clutch which is 4 digits, or a turbo which is 4 digits as well, within the next few years, that's really not feasible, which is so annoying, because I just sold the Supra, as you guys probably are aware if you're watching this, and I spent a large amount, probably about over half the money of that, diagnosing this thermostat housing, brand new battery, all these bits and bobs going through it. Got nothing left now from the Supra, and now this is also exited chat as well. So that's really not good. And the thing is, I picked it up from the mechanic once it had this diagnosis, and I drove it home and I was like, this car's so good! And it just got up to temperature lovely, and the AC works great, and I put your foot down and it maps it. And for those of you who don't know, this is mapped as well. It's got 250 horsepower-ish or something. It's got 415 foot-pounds of torque or something, and when you put your foot down, it just fucking goes. You really feel it. And it still does over 40 miles a gallon on the run, all this sort of stuff. But it's broken, and I can't have that. So there will be a replacement. Let's talk about dry steering, shall we?
Couldn't have been louder, really.
I know, it was, yeah. It was a big one. Everything under here is looking good, okay? I do have an engine cover and all that sort of shite. But, yeah, it's honestly heartbreaking that we're going to start this car now, and apart from it taking ages to start, runs absolutely fine. Come on, let's have a go. Let everyone comment how they like Ken's beard, okay? 6-speed gearbox, 45. No, I can't do car reviews very well.
No, let's not do it for this one either.
Can't tell what the next one is, because I do have a replacement.
It's exciting times.
It's exciting. I know for a fact when you all see this car, you're going to go, what the fuck is he doing? I'll put it this way. I bought the car under the stipulations that certain things on it worked. They didn't. So those things are getting fixed. Meanwhile, the things that I didn't specify that have to work, that still don't work, I bought parts for so I could fix them.
So he's bought a broken car.
I bought a broken car. Okay, can you calm down, please? You stop in the comments. I can already tell you're livid. Should have got a JQ. That's what you're saying.
This car's fucking smooth. I don't understand.
It's an amazing car. Fucking lovely car. Please, if you're watching this preemptively, maybe buying a 159, do your due diligence, but buy one, please. I forgot to mention this one is quite crispy under the rear subframe and also the outer sills, but outer sills is just scabby, you just fog that down and do something with it.
A bit duct tape on there.
But it is a contributing factor.
That's going to be a bit jittery.
Oh, it's so good though, isn't it? The combination of the things is so good. The fact that you do have a nice bit of power. It's not breaking the tyres loose, fucking crazy, whatever, turbo Civic stuff. But it is way more than enough for going around town. And as a car enthusiast, it keeps you entertained. Just going to turn the cruise control on now. We're in a nice 40. Beautiful Come on! I've got the head unit on. It's saying that I'm not listening to Doug DeMuro's podcast. I am a listener. I'm also a creamer. Comment below if you're a creamer. I'll be taking this head unit out and putting it in the other one. I'm going to be listing this car on eBay. Spares or repairs. I'm going to be extremely honest about it, its condition, and what I believe to be the issue. I expect to get something in the realm of £500. I will say it's got 2 part-worn PS4s on the front that I just bought for 250 quid. And just other bits that are still good condition, like the steering wheel's nice and all the gear levers nice and things like this. These can get tatty, but this one has been cared for. But I don't think it's cared for its owners, or at least not anymore. And you know what? I don't want to point fingers, and I'm pretty sure I'll never speak to him again. He knows he can't remember who I am now anyway. But I fucking bet you that guy who sold me this car knew exactly that this car had issues, at least with the cooling system when he sold it. Get rid of it, get rid of it. I bet you. Because he's just replaced the expansion tank and just thought, yeah, that's fine, send it. Thing is, when you are just cruising around like we are now, just round a roundabout, whatever, in traffic, it's just any other normal diesel. And I think that's one of the things I really like about it, is that it is just, and what I mean by that is economical, understated. The police aren't chasing you around because you're off the limiter all the time, things like that. It is just a fucking 2 Golf GTI. 2? 3?
And a Mark 6.
Oh yeah, but
Don't worry about that.
That's just
piece of shit.
You know what? Since electric cars and specifically Chinese cars have become a thing, I do appreciate the Golf Rs and stuff that used to be those easy cars or whatever.
Have you seen the new Capri?
Yeah, of course I have.
Oh God, fucking hell.
There we go. I just did another little pull there again, and it's just got balls and balls of torque. It's great. I love this thing, and I'm going to be so sad to see it go. I didn't mention, but obviously you guys already know, I honestly think this is one of the best looking cars, not only for an estate or, at its price point or at its era, I think ever. I think it's genuinely such a good looking car.
It's outside the box, isn't it? All cars are generic. You know, you say at Leon's, your Golfs, all the same.
It's true, and it just looks so. It looks equally menacing, but also just nice or whatever from the front. We just got up to temperature now, and we're absolutely fine. We're cruising along. If I was to keep driving this for another 5 minutes, put some load on it.
Which one is it? Hold on, let me get in your face.
Yeah, you're starting to prioritise camera work over driving.
Driving sketchy as anyway.
My driving?
Oh no, I didn't mean nothing.
Oh, I see. We took the scimitar out earlier. That's going quite nicely.
That's fun,
isn't it?
Yeah.
There will be more scimitar on the channel immediately, by the way. Not immediately, imminently, because this is the getting rid of this and replacing it with this other car. These are going to be cars that I can quite easily work on, and that's the thing. And I will talk about this more next week when we introduce the new car. But the point is that these cars can be worked on. This one is, the parts are quite difficult to come by, just because the engine's a bit oddball, let alone any 159 parts, well, really. But that head issue, things like this. Whereas, for instance, the scimitar head gasket went, well, Ken and I did that. That was fine. That was easy. Now, I understand that, of course, if you want air conditioning and cruise control and stuff, then you're going to have to get a more modern car, and that means there will inherently be some more complexities. But it doesn't have to be as complex. Also, this is a diesel, which is great. I really do like a diesel, especially this one with its slightly tartier engine. But I just don't... They are a weird science to me. And I just, even though technically on paper are easier to understand how they function, it's just suck, squeeze, bang, blow, isn't it? It's just, if it doesn't start right, is it cranking? Have you got compression? Have you got sparks? Have you got fuel? You know, and it's just you work through it. And that procedure is what I've been doing my whole life when working on cars, and that is why I know how to fault find and go through them easier than this one. I did actually get a code reader for this, and I thought, oh, that might tell me what's wrong. It might have some sensors or something that tell me, you know, what's broken or whatever. and I plugged it in, and also another one. And there's no problems. Don't worry about it. No engine codes, no nothing. Don't worry about it. It's all fine. Oh,
Handbrake, mate.
well, I put it in gear, but I had the clutch in. Maybe I should get an auto.
This car feels fine. I don't understand. Didn't open the door for me or nothing.
What, sorry?
Unbelievable. No, don't you worry.
So there we have it. I'm really, really sad about this one. I wanted this car forever. As I say, I just put new Michelin PS4s, not new, part ones on the front, and I really wanted to get it done. Obviously, you know, it's been that Josh. I wanted to get it all nice and looking good, and indeed it did. Well, now it's covered in all dusty rain and stuff, and Ken's handprints. But I did genuinely... I'm not someone who wants to hop around cars all the time. I really like to learn how something works, like the Scimitar, and I want to have, know it in and out. I want to know I can fix everything about it, and I just want to have a car, to be honest with you, kind of for the rest of my life. I'm sure I'll get to a point where a nice automatic, or maybe even an electric thing in 20 years' time is cheap and super luxurious or whatever. Sorry. But I was expecting to have this for an extended period, and unfortunately it doesn't want to be had for an extended period. But it will be on eBay. If you want this, please.
It's good for parts.
It's really good for parts.
Yeah.
And if you are someone who has the space, time, or whatever to fiddle around with it, especially if you do know diesels quite nicely, you could have that head off and diagnose it for yourself. You could probably get the head re-welded or something like that to fill in the crack if it is cracked. I don't know how good that is, but you could easily get it going again if you knew how.
You don't even know if it is cracked.
I know, that's the thing.
It might not even be cracked.
Yeah, and the problem is, if I take it apart to investigate...
It could crack it.
well, the bigger thing is that at the moment, as you just witnessed, the car drives. Like, someone could pick this up, not drive that far with it, but my point is, at the moment, it's a working vehicle. It functions. Whereas if I start taking it apart, not only is it going to be worth less, but I'm going to hinder someone who does want to fix it. Because they're going to go, well, how does it go back together? Because they didn't take it apart. And I do... If this sold for 500 quid, and then someone said, oh yeah, actually I just bought a replacement head for 500 quid and a head gasket and got it back on the road again, I'd be honestly so happy for you, and knowing that this car was still cool and on the road. But, onwards and upwards, hopefully. But bye, Alfa. You've been amazing. Actually, no, it's been kind of shit. As soon as I bought this, all the videos went from Scimitar to just fixing this one.
A couple of weeks in, the bulbs went, and then the fucking suspension did.
Yeah, then
suspension
went, and yeah. Yeah.
I got a package for you.
All right, mate. I'll be over in a bit.
That's alright.
Cheers.
Selfless advertising.
Oh, he's a supervisor now, so he's on the brand team.
I don't think car people are going to need a lift in their house anytime soon.
Well, unless it's a full poster.
We don't do them.
Oh.
We do 2 posters.
Well, that's good. With the swing arms.
No.
Oh.
No, with a car.
With a car. All right, bye everyone. I can't go higher than that.
And I'm so not in frame on that right now.
Let me get a nice picture of you.
Wearing my attire. You just on my...
Just stay there.
A dab.
Are you dabbing? You have a dabba do. Oh my God. He's got children. 6'7", 6'7".